I am calling out Owen Macdonald for daring to platform the insidious dark conservatarian. He is a racist, sexist, bigoted, homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic, Nazi-inspired, fascist, enabling piece of shit. And he shall change his mind by people going on smear campaigns and call-out campaigns against him. And if that doesn't change his mind for daring to do such an action like that, and to apologize for such a thing, Antifa shall march up to his door, break into his house, shall take him, spread his legs out, and assuming there is a set of dick and balls right there, he shall be castrated with a pair of fucking scissors.
That was an interesting way to start. Anyway.
Oh, I look to put on an entertaining show to make this worth my time.
Entertaining, eh?
Reiterate in the past of what it is about me and why it is about me in general that you dislike about me.
Well, I don't really see it as a personal dislike, really. I find myself above.
You throw accusations of bigotry at me, and it's not personal. Got it.
Why are you speaking like that? Like, it's not, you can have a normal conversation. I mean,
can people really have normal conversations when you flagrantly call them scumbags and all the other bull crap?
Well, I mean, if you acted nicely and weren't bigoted, then you wouldn't be, called a bigot. I mean,
the only people that I'm not nice to are my enemies, which you apparently are one of them.
Anything I've said has only been exemplified through the actions and words you yourself have said. Like, I wouldn't just make something up.
Saying that I'm anti-bodily autonomy, that's not something made up.
Well, you are. Of course you are.
I mean, that's not taking into account all the other issues regarding bodily autonomy. For one thing, there's also consideration of the unborn person, particularly
there's no
late
consideration
term.
There.
What?
There's no consideration there. There's no argument there.
Yeah. Sure. Just because you say it means that I'm going to completely shut up on the issue of abortion. Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Though. The person that matters is the actual person, aka the person who has the womb, the person who is carrying.
Well, rewinding back to bodily autonomy, though, because that wasn't the only thing. On the issue of abortion alone, there's consideration of the unborn human being inside the bodily autonomy of them as well. Like the bodily autonomy of both mother and child are in conflict in that circumstance. It's a rather morally messy issue. And plus, you seem to be forgetting about the other issues involving bodily autonomy. Like, for example, shooting drugs in people's systems, or a person shooting drugs in their own system, more specifically. I mean, if somebody was to shoot drugs in someone else's systems, that's obviously a violation of bodily autonomy. And it would be assault or something like that. Yeah, one person to another, not one person on their own self. But specifically talking about one person on their own self shooting drugs in their own system, I am for allowing that. I mean, I thought that was something that we kind of, I don't know, I guess we did not fully clarify that. And also transgender procedures and a person cutting themselves with a knife like an edgy emo kid, like people like to comment that I dress up as. And also getting a boob job, butt injections, tattoos, piercings, all that other stuff. People can, like, in my worldview, can do whatever they want with their own body as long as it doesn't affect second party. I mean, are you taking those issues into consideration when you say that I'm anti-bodily autonomy? Because my position on those issues alone is pretty pro-bodily autonomy.
But the fact that, DarkCon, the fact that you are, pro bodily autonomy in some things doesn't mean that you are holding views and having actions which oppose it in other areas. So it's all very well saying, oh, I think anyone can do what they want with drugs or bodily modification.
It's not.
But when if you're saying, oh, you don't have the right to control your own reproductive system, then
it's not even
that's
in the
not
issue.
Right. That's an example of you opposing bodily autonomy, because
it's not even
actively taking away the control of a person that is actually existing, their right over their own body.
It's not even in the issue of abortion am I against the woman's own bodily autonomy necessarily. I mean, when it comes to like the life of mother, for example, Who do you think that I take precedence over? Who do you think that the pro-life community as a whole takes precedence over? I mean, they have they believe in the life of mother exception for one thing, and I mean, this is kind of where I disagree with a select few other pro-lifers on, is that I actually believe in allowing women to like terminate their own pregnancies before brainwaves are detected, like that being like the first 7 weeks.
Well, hold on a second. Why are you assigning life to something which is, you know, not really a life, which is not a human? You know, why are you trying
what
to create
species are they then?
What
I mean,
why
they
are
aren't human.
Why are you trying to set parameters on something where there are none to be set?
Humanity already, overall, I mean, aside from a few whack jobs who go on serial killings and whatnot, overall humanity does believe in the right to life for everybody.
For actual humans, though. Yeah, not for
unborn babies are actual humans. I mean, what species
no,
are they, Owen?
They aren't.
Yes,
they aren't actual humans. No, they're not.
What species are they then? Are they alligator?
Sentience.
Are they zebra? Are they bear?
They're not alive. They're not actual humans. They're fetuses.
Oh, they're not alive. Oh, yeah.
They aren't alive. I mean,
oh yeah, sure. I mean, this seems to be an outright denial of biology right here.
Oh no, well, that's from your end, to be honest.
On my end, in what way? I'm acknowledging that they're alive, and I'm acknowledging that they're human.
They aren't alive, and they aren't human. A human is someone who has been born. You know, you can't say you can love what you like, but it doesn't matter what you particularly have to say about it. To be honest, because the person that is actually alive,
I could just as easily say that to you. That what you say doesn't matter either.
The person that is carrying the actual, you know, the person that has the womb, that's the person that's alive. You know, there's no debate there to be had.
They are alive, and what do you mean there's no debate to be had? There is a debate right now. Whether you like it, Owen, there is a debate on abortion being had right now. I mean, that's why we're on this live stream right now.
Well, it doesn't really matter what you have to say on it, because the person...
Well, then why the fuck did you invite me on this live stream then? By what study or article are they not human, or are they not alive? Because I've always heard that women, or even people in general, if you want to go with non-females, can give birth with that logic as well. Humans in general give birth, or no, not in general. Humans give birth to other humans. They do not give birth to platypi or dogs or cats or any of that other crap, or any other species.
What does that have to do with? What does that have to do with the anything else?
What do you mean? I mean, it has to do with how you're denying the biology of what species they are.
If you were to, you know, become pregnant, let's say you could. I mean, I don't know about your biology or not.
I mean, if there was a way to like biologically engineer wombs into men, I do not know if I would take it, but that's beside the point.
Men can. It's not beside the point. If you could have, if you, for whatever reason, you were pregnant, would you give birth?
I mean, I can't right now because I'm not biologically engineered like that.
No, but if you were, it's a thought experiment. You have a baby in you have a, you know, in 9 months' time, a baby is going to be born from your body. Are you giving birth?
Yeah.
You are, even though it could have life-changing effects on your body, and you know, you might not want children. You might not.
What kind of life-changing effects?
Well, I mean, you know, the effect on the body when one gives birth is often quite scarring and quite damaging, and it affects the metabolism and the bodily shape sometimes. Not to mention, the 9 months of your life that you're giving over to this pregnancy. You know, think about the bodily cramps and the, you know, hunger pangs and all those things that people go through, the complications of medicality, and you know, the risks of childbirth itself. You know,
increased metabolism is not the utmost end of the world, and as far as weight goes, gaining weight. As far as gaining weight goes, that can be like worked off. Go to the gym.
DarkCon, it's all right for you to say that because you've never been through it. How do you know?
I mean, you're asking me in this thought experiment. You're asking me in this thought experiment, Owen.
Yeah, but you know, you can't just say, "Oh, it's not a big deal." When, you know,
I mean, if I can't give birth, if you're now suddenly going to say I can't give birth, well, okay, for one thing, that seems pretty transphobic of you. What's to say that I cannot get like some kind of biological engineering done so I can give birth?
What are you on about?
What am I on about?
DarkCon,
What
stop
I'm
talking
on
rubbish,
about
answer the question.
is that you made up this thought experiment that if I was to give birth, and now you're all like, you can't give birth. Like, are we going to run with this experiment, or are we going to stick with reality that I can't give birth?
DarkCon, you're not making any sense. I've given you a thought experiment, and I've asked you.
Okay. Well, then let's stick with it.
Yes, which is what we were doing. Why are you trying to add in bits? Anyway.
Well, you were the one that like went off the tangent that saying that I cannot give birth. You suddenly turned off the thought experiment like a light switch.
I said all I said was that you've never experienced your metabolism changing in the same way a pregnant person has. So how are you to say, oh, it's not a big deal, as though you just know how it is? I'm asking you why you could say all these hateful, harmful things when you
hateful, yeah.
Quite clearly, well, they are hateful. Why would you want to control someone else's body?
I hate the mother. It cannot possibly be because I love. Well, love might be a little bit of a strong word, but because I care for people's right to life, including the unborn baby.
But the fact that
it cannot possibly be because of that. Because I hate the woman. Got it.
Or a person by chance gets pregnant. Maybe their what's it called? Contraception didn't work properly. And they say, oh, okay, I'm pregnant. I don't want to be pregnant. And they get an abortion. And it's all sorted. No harm done, no life, disrupted, no autonomy vanquished, and everything's fine.
There was harm done,
but there wasn't harm done though, because everyone's fine.
There was the loss of a human life.
No, there wasn't. There was a fetus.
I mean, I think we're getting hung up on the differences between human and individuality. I mean, when you are saying that supposedly they are not human, which is again, I'll say a denial of biology for you to say that they're not human. I think what you're meaning by that is when do they get their individuality? And when does the right to life or bodily autonomy apply for the unborn baby? That's where the debate primarily lies at. Is when do we find personhood?
Maybe in your eyes, but the only person present in the situation is the actual person that has the womb and is carrying the fetus.
Okay.
So there's no debate to be had over whether there's no
I don't care for how much you want to say there's no debate going on.
Even if we accept your nonsense about the even we accept this whole there's a big debate about whether fetuses are humans or whatever. The actual human, the one that no one debates the existence of, is the actual person in a physical, touchable world, like myself.
I mean, I'm not debating.
They get the priority. They get the they get the whole
I mean, I'm not saying that women do not take slight higher priority.
You're quibbling over the the unborn lives. It doesn't matter because that person that is pregnant is the one that gets to make.
I don't care if you think it doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean, I don't. You got to break down as to why it doesn't matter. The simple statement from particularly your orifice that it doesn't matter does not convince me. So you go talking. Okay, so you say that the
people you can.
Let me ask you.
Keep your horrible worldview away from people that want to have control over their own bodies. Keep your
I would say you keep your own horrible worldview away from other people as well.
Well, the thing is, I am not affecting anyone else by saying, people should be able to control their own reproductive systems. Your worldview actively could.
Well, you kind of are affecting other people when you say, let's systematically allow the unborn to die.
No one's allowing the unborn to die. You're assigning life to bits of cells.
Not allow them. I want to reword that. Not to allow them to die, but allow them to be killed.
DarkCon, have you been vaccinated, DarkCon?
I don't think I have, but why is it? This is a red herring right here.
Have you ever taken medicine, DarkCon? Have you ever taken medicine, DarkCon?
What does this have to do with anything?
Could you answer the question, please? Have you ever taken medicine
Duh.
Okay. Yeah. Has your body got white blood cells?
I'm alive and I'm human, so I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. Your body has killed thousands of life forms, probably much more than that, over your entire lifetime.
Those are not human life.
Neither's the few bit of cells that you've got in your.
Okay, I'm not looking. Okay. Here, let me clarify. I'm not looking to defend
yourself off into the coffin.
I want to clarify. I'm not looking to defend few bit of cells. Like, I'm not looking to defend a 1 week conceived zygote. I want to rewind this a little bit back. You say that what I have to say on abortion does not matter. What I view to be life doesn't matter. But the ultimatum as to how that you determine this issue is that women have a right to bodily autonomy, full stop.
Everyone. Like, not just women,
everyone.
Okay.
Well, women, for the most part, are the super majority of people who give birth. That's why I say women. But we can, like, stick to people as well. I don't care. But your logic is people have a right to their own bodily autonomy, so therefore they can abort, full stop, right?
Mm.
Well, my logic is the unborn baby did not violate that. They are not the party that maliciously violated that right.
The unborn, it's not as though an abortion, like, someone else is like, oh right, you're going for an abortion, Amber, and some pregnant woman's like dragged off screaming to go and have an abortion. Like, that never happens.
That's not what I said.
I didn't say you said that. I said it's not like that happens. Like, abortions, like, aren't performed on people who don't want them had. Like, there's no, like, oh, you know, you will go. Like, they're only ever performed when, you know, the person who is pregnant.
How do we get here?
An unborn baby, yeah, that's a baby that is actually wanted by the person that is pregnant. You know, if an abortion's being carried out, then it's, you know, it's not anything that's going to materialize into a human. You know, it's not wanted. It's not.
I don't think whether a person is wanted or not determines that their right to life is null and void, or it's applicable.
Nothing's been murdered because the life hasn't started yet. It's, you know, it's a series of cells. It's no more alive than just, you know, terminating.
Your series of cells.
Yes, but I'm also an actual human. I can think. I've got sentience. I've got bodily autonomy. A little.
Yeah, I mean, you wanna talk about thinking. You want to talk about thinking, like a newborn baby has barely any ability to think. So, but their right to life is not unviable.
DarkCon, they're still human, though. Like, there's
still as they were a few minutes ago before they were born.
Abortions aren't performed on people who are literally about to come out of the womb, are they?
Okay, I wanna ask you for clarification, because you kind of give off the implications that I think I know what the answer is on this, but I don't want to go off on an assumption. Do you actually believe in allowing late-term abortions?
Like, what do you mean by late-term abortion?
Like, say, 34 to 36 weeks.
Oh, you mean like well before
birth?
You mean well before abortions are, you know, usually performed, like safely performed when people have the information?
Well before. No, that's like a well
after. Well after. That's what I meant. So I misspoke. Yeah, sorry. Well after.
But I mean,
you know, most abortions.
You can answer like yes or no on this, and then give like your full explanation. Yes or no? Do you believe in legally allowing late-term abortions?
You know, late-term abortion's not a late-term abortion is a pretty misleading term because it makes it sound as though they're like this commonplace thing, when in reality
they are late-term. I mean,
they're used.
It doesn't matter as to how commonplace they are. I mean, that's not relevant to my question. Do you believe in legally allowing them to happen?
The whole reason people have this argument is because
do you believe in allowing them to happen?
Sorry?
Do you believe in legally allowing late-term abortions to happen?
Absolutely, because they're not that big a thing, and when given the right information, people who are pregnant are able to access abortions much earlier than that. It's people like you who are actively trying to assign life to, you know, bits of flesh and fetuses and stuff, who actively take information away. You know, conservatives in government trying to remove the information around, you know, safe sex and sex education and reproductive rights and stuff that make such abortions necessary, because, you know, a person doesn't have access until far into the pregnancy, when the, you know, the bit of flesh starts to actually resemble and become close to the human that it will be when it's born. You know, they're not that common, and they wouldn't be that common if there were less people like you who actively make it harmful and dangerous for people to seek abortions.
For the rare amount of abortions that do happen that late, is when I definitely think that they should be not allowed, legally not allowed.
Well, even so, why does your hang-ups about it mean the person who is pregnant should lose control of her own body? Like,
I mean,
it doesn't matter what you personally think.
why
Yeah, fine.
should the unborn
you
baby
find
lose
it
their right to life?
unborn. They haven't had a life yet. Therefore, they don't have the right.
They are
They're not-
alive. I mean, what do you define as a life? Are you talking about like they are playing with other children and they're interacting with other people? Is that what you mean by, is that what you're defining as life right now? When you say they haven't had a life yet?
An actual like person that has been born, that has, left the the womb of the parent.
I don't think you're getting,
Sorry.
I don't think you're answering my question right there.
No, like you asked me what a life was. I said, something that has left the womb. Certainly for humans, anyway. Obviously, different animals have different things. Regardless,
because they are,
you cannot try and you put life onto things just so you can control the wombs of people. Who
I don't look to control the wombs of people,
Well,
but I mean, I don't look to control anyone's body. What I'm looking is to protect life. What I want to say is that if you say that they aren't human, provide us a study or something that says that that humans give birth to any other species. Give me a DNA testing.
That isn't what I mean by not.
Well.
That's
okay, well then
I
you gotta
mean.
clarify your language. You gotta redefine your own.
No, because I've not.
Speaking. Because when you say they are not human, they are not alive. That is just utterly fallacious, an utter falsehood.
Okay, so I've never said that a human's going to give birth to like a dog or something. That's not what I mean.
Well,
like
that's kind of the implication. When you say it is not human.
Like,
I got a question.
What's your question?
Have you ever heard of the saying, "My rights end when your rights begin"?
I've heard of the saying.
In other words, I have a right as much to swing my fist around as long as it doesn't make contact with your face.
I understand that, but
well,
I don't see how that applies here because there's only one. There's only one life.
In the case of abortion,
it's
I believe that
Good.
Mom's right to her own body ends where the rights of the fetus's right to life begins.
Which is once it's been born, so there's no problem here. Shall we move on now, please? Awful.
I don't think that, okay, I'm also going to say that I don't think that something as arbitrary as physical position determines the right to life for an individual. And that is what you're determining to be what determines right to life, is their physical position. Once they are like inside,
why do you care about where you personally assign, life? Like, why
do I care about abortion?
Yeah, you can't get pregnant. You don't have any.
Why do I care about abortion? Because I care about the right to life being consistently held for people. I mean,
you don't care about their lives once they've been born, though, at all. You don't have a. Don't you care about them at all once they've been born?
Get killed. More specifically, I mean, there's a difference between.
What are your views on welfare programs again? What are your views on?
I mean, I believe that is a tolerable compromise. That's
tolerable compromise. Tolerable compromise. Say.
Yes.
Delightful.
Exactly. But even then, that's not morally equivalent. I mean, the saying that a person is all like, I don't want people to be allowed to kill each other, that like applying that to abortion or even the issue of when it comes to guns. But at the same time, I don't think people are obligated to help one another via welfare or whatever else. They are not like morally equivalent to one another.
I find it very interesting that you can sit here and have all these views and then claim you're a Christian when you are like just not.
Red herring.
No, it's not a red herring. You are as far from someone like Jesus as I could possibly imagine. Like when I think, well, it's true, isn't it? When I think of someone saying, "Oh, love all humans, love each other," and then I look at you, who's like this horrible, hateful, like, I mean, just.
Oh yeah, I
come on to it in a bit.
I hate women. I totally hate women. I think they should all be forced to go back into the kitchen, everybody. And as far as the whole issue of bodily autonomy, if you want to continue on with that straw man, well then, fuck you, Owen. What you say, your representation of my beliefs is flat out false. And if you want to like insist and double down, on those straw men to be true, well, then that's when that your straw men become flat out lies, despite me trying to explain how my beliefs are not what you represent them to be.